infrastructure issue. We have bridges and roads and other parts of the infrastructure falling or down. We in Michigan know about water issues as much as anybody else, given what happened in Flint and right here in Detroit. And these are issues that have to be dealt with at the national level. And so hopefully Donald Trump will, in fact, put forward an infrastructure plan that will do a couple of things. One, rebuild this nation, but also I remember reading the history of FDR and the CCC program and the other programs where they essentially took money to put Americans to work. And I would like to see some opportunities as we rebuild the infrastructure be given for employment and training and things of that nature. What do you think? 313-778-7600. We got some callers on the line. Let's go to Daryl, who's on line 6. Hey, Daryl, thanks for calling. Good afternoon to you. How are you today?
Hey, how you doing? I called you last year. I was the first time caller, but I do always listen to you.
Thank you.
I asked you. I said my question. If you remember, I asked you. I said, do you think Donald Trump will last the 4 years in office? And my question to you now is, do you still think he'll make it to 4 years? And I just hang up and listen to you.
Well, first of all, I appreciate the call and I appreciate the question, Daryl. I do not think he will make it to 4 years. I don't think that he will make it to 4 years. I am surprised that he made it to 1 year. I didn't think, given all that was coming out, all the lies he was telling, all of the racism that was coming out, that he would make it to a year. But he's made it past the first year. And frankly, I thought that the Republican Party, which controls Congress right now, I thought the Republican Party would be more courageous than it has been. I did not realize that they were lockstep sycophants for Donald Trump. Remember, some of the harshest critics of Donald Trump came from Republicans during the campaign. And once he got in office and started saying what he said and did what he did, you had a lot of Republicans who initially stood up and said, wait a minute, I can't condone that. But something has happened. The worm has turned, and now they're supporting Donald Trump. And I think that is a tragedy for this country. And it shows the caliber and lack of character that is within so many of these Republicans in Congress. Now, Democrats are not perfect and are not saints, and I am certainly not a Democrat myself. And I'd like to see more from the Democratic Party as well. But the Republicans control Congress. They control the government of this country. And yet nobody, not nobody, but hardly anyone on the Republican side has been willing to stand up and step up and say, no, we don't support the lies. We don't support these policies. We don't support the racism and the division that you are but certainly fostering in this country. But you know what? The truth is the light. And if that is the truth, then we need to know exactly where we are. That is why I will be listening to the State of the Union address tonight, but I will be listening with a skeptical ear. What about you? 313-778-7600. Let's go to Cleve on line 4. Hey, Cleve, how you doing this afternoon?
Yeah, how you doing, Cliff? Yeah, we're going to hear a lot of garbage tonight from the president and his lies. And the Republican Party, and the people that voted for him, they know what he's doing. They're not no fools. These people go about their daily lives. They know this man is sitting up there, but they accept that. I do one network, like a Fox News cable network, control and put a president in office in a place. And here's another thing about the infrastructure. Remember the state of Michigan, we voted no here about the gas tax to fix our roads and everything?
Yes.
And they overturned it. Just like we voted no for emergency manager statewide, they ran the right back through. Mm-hmm. Remember the Republicans did that? So I would say they won't talk about states' rights. Each state should fix their own roads. But the tax, and we haven't seen nothing here in the state of Michigan. But another thing about the Donald Trump, of course, he's going to say all this stuff and everything, but it hurts the country so bad. It really does. And I have a lot of young folks in my family, and they didn't vote this last election, but I had heard them say on so many occasions, I don't like the way he talks. or present itself as the president. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
No kind of moral, and it's the way that he's supposed to carry himself. But the Republican Party, they understand that. They're not going to say nothing against them because who they going to run to? It's a certain 30% or 35%. When they say 40%, 35%, that's who they're dealing with. That's why he goes to to coliseums or whatever, and they show up all the time. I work with a couple of hardcore Republicans, and I sit up there and I put all the facts in front of them, and they, no matter what, they say they still like the guy, and no matter what, they don't lie.
That is the crazy part. Cleve, I appreciate the call a lot. Thank you. That is the crazy part to me, that a lot of these Trump supporters and these Republicans, when the facts slap them in their own faces, they still ignore the facts. They just love them some Donald Trump. And why? Because he touches a certain part of them that they like. And frankly, that is the part that still embraces racism, the part that still embraces untruths and lies and myths and things that we've said about ourselves in this country that simply are not true. Things like, we're in a post-racial society. Racism is long and gone. No, it is alive and well. The people who are willing to hold their nose, turn the other way, but still support Donald Trump, it amazes me. It boggles my mind. What about you? 313-778-7600. Let's go to Brenda, who's on line 1. Hey, Brenda, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I was calling. I expect to hear some lies from the president because he's a pathological liar. So I intend to fact check everything he's saying. And also, about the infrastructure, we need money for infrastructure, but I don't see it coming because he just gave $1.8 billion to corporations and the rich. So where are they going to get this money from?
Yes.
And he's giving that kind of money to rich people. They need this for our infrastructure and other programs.
And stay with me. Stay with me, Brenda, because you asked a great question. I just heard on a news broadcast the other day that Donald Trump will try to emphasize rebuilding the infrastructure in his State of the Union address tonight. But when it comes to the money, he's not talking about the government paying for it. The government maybe put a little bit in, but he's going to try to put the onus of that on states. And somehow he feels that private donations and private corporations are going to kick in enough to help rebuild the infrastructure of this country. And I have a couple of problems with that. Number one, I don't see private corporations and companies giving money for the infrastructure unless they're getting something from that. And number two, I-94, I-96, I-75, I-275, I-69, all these are freeways in the state of Michigan. Those are federal highways, and the federal government should pay for what is theirs, and they need to allocate that money to do it. And they cannot afford to have tax cuts for the wealthy when you're trying to invest in this country, and I think you're absolutely right about that. Are you still with me, Brenda? I was giving you a chance to respond to that.
Okay, I totally agree. I don't understand where they're going to get the money from with all this tax breaks. From the experts I've been listening to, they said that this may send us back into a recession because this tax break money is going to increase the deficit a whole lot more than what we're being told.
Absolutely. Brenda, I appreciate the call, and I think you're on the money with that. Let's go to Michael on line 2. Hey, Michael, thanks for calling. Good afternoon to you.
Cliff, I appreciate it. I got to start with a quote, and it comes from the movie Ben-Hur, and it's the very end of the movie. And Pontius Pilate tells Judah, don't crucify yourself on the shadow of old resentment or impossible loyalty. A grown man knows the world in which he lives in, and at the present time, the world is wrong. Now, you lay out a wonderful case for Donald Trump being a racist as if that is the only divisive way you can be in this country. My dear brother, I can tell you For black people, that is case and number one. But for a lot of other folks, there was a lot of divisiveness that went on in this country that they are against. Now, you guys can keep saying that we voted for Donald Trump because we're racist, because we hate ourselves. The economy right now, the state of Michigan, now you can say that they're lying, but the state of Michigan told DTE, Consumers Energy, you must tell every Michiganian how you're going to give them money back based on the tax cut. But yet people still call this radio station and say the tax cuts are only going for the rich. Well, wait a minute. Why would DTE have to give us back anything if no money was going for us? What I hope Donald Trump says, and like I said, he's a deeply flawed man, if I could go back and pick a different president, I would. But in the world in which we live in the constitutional constraints in which we live in, Donald Trump is not going anywhere. So I can say I wish it was Ted Cruz, I wish it was anybody else other than Donald Trump, but he's not going anywhere. And unless we have a constitutional reason to get rid of him, there's nothing that we can do. We're stuck with this guy. So we can opine about his flaws and wish he wasn't there, but that's not going to do anything. So all we can do is say,
Wait. Let me stop you right there. Why won't that do anything? If enough people raise their voices and express their dissatisfaction with what the occupant of the White House is doing, why does that not do anything?
Because the president cannot be recalled. It takes the Congress to kick him out of office. So all of us tomorrow can say we hate Donald Trump, but unless he's impeached in the House of Representatives and kicked out in the Senate, the president is the only elected official, to my knowledge, that cannot be recalled. So we can show our displeasure with him.
I mean, there's a lot of other options than recalling him. There can be political pressure applied. There can be people protesting. There can be people who come to forums. There are people who can organize. And that type of pressure does bear some weight. I mean, this is a democracy. He hasn't destroyed that yet. And those are the ways that you affect change in a democracy. It's not he's here or we get rid of him. It's here. Maybe we can't get rid of him, but we certainly can let him know how we feel. We can certainly apply political pressure. We can certainly inform other people. And I think that does something too.
The big key, Cliff, is going to be the midterm elections. If people like you are right, then people are going to come out to the polls and they're going to give the Democrats back control over the House and the Senate. But Cliff, if after the midterm elections, if they do not give back the control of the House and Senate to the Democrats, then basically all you guys are saying is we should have did something. We had the power to do it at the polls and we haven't done anything. And so my bottom line is I have a lot of issues with Trump, but as far as the tax cut goes, I know myself personally, I'm going to say roughly about $2,400 a year. I know that the businesses that I deliver to as a truck driver is going to boom. And as far as the infrastructure, we think the roads are bad in Michigan. I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and 4 times a main freeway had to be shut down because concrete was flying off the freeway due to the freeze-thaw cycle. So we need this money. Now, I hope that he puts more actual money behind it instead of expecting the business community to chip in. I don't like the fact that he's claiming that he's going to try to put pressure on them when we actually need the money. But we've gotten stuff in this country out of racists. And LBJ gave us a lot of things, and he was a racist.
No doubt about it. First of all, I'm not a Democrat. And let's clarify that. I'm not a Democrat criticizing